Don't worry, this is probably maybe the only time I do this, and I will probably add the text later anyways, for tier list explanations. This is the RE patch. In any case, when I go to like tier 1, tier 2, whatever, don't consider them in any specific order. They're all just kind of thrown in there, and then they're going to be ordered later as more, practice is given into them. In any case, here we go, God tiers first. Coming in first place is Udyr. Because in the new jungle, where it's very much farm oriented and, minute gank type thing, this guy can farm up the jungle incredibly fast. Anyone with strong single target damage, high sustain, and AoE clearing potential is really strong, and Udyr has that. Not only does he have, AoE damage, his is constant. If you look at the other AoE junglers, they're all kind of just like, blur, AoE, bam. Then they poke something for a while, and then blam again. His is like AoE, 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 and then some giant flamethrower Phoenix thing. Usually wipes the crap out of anything. Tiger is significantly weaker. So Phoenix is the way to go on this one. Like it always has been the way to go. He's fast, he farms up storms, he's sustained, like he doesn't even need potions anymore, just uses a turtle. Or you can just use potions and go Phoenix Tiger, and blow through everything. He's pretty much the god jungler. Like he still has all the good traits from before, and considering everybody else slowed down, and this guy pretty much stayed being one of the fastest in the game, he's god mode. Multiple options, infinite paths, great invader, great just everything running around like a tiger, man, bear, pig thing. Yeah, god tier. Live with it. He's like Udyr. Super sustained, fast. He's got that AoE damage that ticks almost every second. It's pretty much him and Udyr are neck to neck. The only reason Udyr, edges him out is slight versatility and a better earlier ganking. I mean, yeah, slow is great and all, but the stun is a lot more, like, bam, you're dead, son. You don't have any chance to flash out. Well, coming with a burst, if you can burst someone down within that time frame. If anything, they're kind of interchangeable. They're kind of the same thing. Skarner's better at level 6 ganking, for instance. Skarner is the new Warwick, except faster, better, and he's a scorpion. Like if you were to if it was the old jungle, Skarner was the sole reason why Warwick went from being higher tier jungler to shit tier, because everything Warwick does, Skarner does it better. And the only reason Warwick stayed up there is because there was nobody else that could be compared to Warwick in sustainability and malleability. But in comes Skarner and says, you know what? Get the fuck out. In any case, just see if everything I said about Udyr, think of that for Skarner. He stayed really fast, and he stayed, and he just got stronger in this jungle. Everybody else got slightly weaker. This guy kind of just stayed the same. Farm heavy, fast, and powerful. Keep it at that. Alright, Lee Sin was hard to consider a god, especially when you look at who's going to be top of tier 1, who may actually be a god, but there's still things I'm trying to consider. Lee Sin has, no requirement for blue, has still a godlike duelist, and that's kind of the best way to control jungle now, actually killing the other jungler, because that sets him behind a lot. He's got, diverse types of ganks. He's got, multiple paths. He's got, like, build options up the ass. And he obviously can gank like a beast. And, he's still one of the stronger level 2 gankers. Sure, ganking lower levels is kind of weak. But this guy's got, transitions, like, almost flawlessly, even without, getting ahead. He snowballs hard. And sure, if he doesn't get ganks, he isn't as intimidating as he would be. But this guy, build him any way you want, gank any way you want, and just harass the enemy jungler. That's still all effective. In fact, dueling has become even more effective. And Kong, adding to his god mode sustain, his ultimate, his variety of builds, his variety of paths, his ability to, like, in this new jungle, start anywhere and still benefit, like Lizard start or Blue start, and not be screwed. And add to all his ganking dashes and potential and damage, he's got AoE, like free AoE basically. Like, you can't count how many. Like, he's got like a low cooldown free AoE basically. And steroids are strong on any jungler right now. Steroid buffs. Like his is, you know, the attack speed thing, so that's really strong. And I'm rambling like a drunkard. In any case, that's why he's kind of God mode. He still stayed pretty much the same, but got stronger because everybody else got it weaker. And he can exploit a lot of the, you know, deficiencies in the new jungle that some junglers may face. So he's really strong just for that matter. Now Trundle's top of tier 1, and he could actually be a god. He's still got everything that's awesome from before, he just got slightly slower. And his path options kind of shrunk because, you know, pathing shrunk for a lot of junglers. And he's not necessarily the best level 2 ganker, so like it's if he fails, it kind of sets him behind. So that option's kind of null on him. That's one of the reasons I kind of don't want to put him in God mode yet, because he's like, while he's still incredible now, and his sustain is basically unparalleled due to everything dying really quickly and dealing no damage and him just absorbing their health, he just can't, you know, he can't risk a lot of the crazy stunts he could have done before. Like, he rarely killed people. He just beat them up really badly and forced them away and then stole their goods. Like, that's beneficial, sure, but on a character like Trundle, who kind of does need farm and kind of does need, you know, to make a significant impact early on because he kind of relies on his team, it just feels like it's too risky to do that now. I mean, like, he can easily do it, it's just not as beneficial as it was before. Like, unlike Lee Sin usually can kill the person, Trundle usually doesn't have the ability to finish them, if you get what that means. Now, Cho'Gath could also be a god, but no, he just doesn't have, you know, like, everybody knows one of his weaknesses. It's his ganking. I mean, while it's pretty awesome when it actually works, because it's pretty much a dead target. If the Rupture hits, Rupture, Silence, bite their face off, or just your teammates will finish him off because they're silenced and just really hurt because his abilities do a lot of damage. It's not flawless. People easily dodge it. And Cho'Gath's kind of clumsy that way and has low movement speed, so unless, you know, you add some mobility onto him with runes and stuff. Now, Cho'Gath was sort of like both strengthened and weakened with the Jungle Remake. Strengthened by the fact that, you know, he's got 3 AoEs. That's already like, oh man, this is really great boon to me. I will destroy every camp. Then they added some kind of AoE reduction damage to the creeps, so that kind of nerfed it. He was really godly in the early Jungle Remake testing. But in any case, Cho'Gath is still really strong. Just his ganking is what keeps him behind. But the other thing that kind of sucks is that his pathing got cut down a little. He was one of the best junglers to be able to take advantage of, you know, aggressive jungle starts or you know, superior pathing, small camp starts to big camp and all that other stuff. He was one of the best to take advantage of that, and that superior pathing was nerfed. You can't really rely on, you know, just small camps anymore. You gotta take the big buffs. Now, Gangplank is one that probably will end up lower in tier 1 than I actually have him right now. But since he's about just above average on most aspects and like single target, so he's kind of not, you know, too great right now in terms of clearing compared to, you know, the AoE junglers. But one thing that keeps him up there is his bonus gold actually helps out a lot if you're actually, you know, doing it properly. His built-in steroids are God mode, and his ability to transition is also God mode. But then there's that global ultimate, the way that he can always apply pressure even when he's just jungling, when he's not really, you know, in a lane. So that kind of global pressure, you know, enacting global pressure while not losing your precious farm is important now, because, you know, as everybody knows, ganking is risky if you fail, because you will fall, you know, you'll fall behind pretty significantly even with the hotfix. So being able to gank or apply pressure to the lanes while being able to keep up in the jungle is a really strong strength given to Gangplank. Like, it's pretty important. Same as Nocturne. I'll explain later. Now, in the land, when ganking has to be precise, he's got it going on for him. You know, his snare is basically fail-proof, as it's just, you know, it's targeted and it lunges at the opponents, though they have plenty of time to react unless you catch them off guard with a flash or some crap. and sometimes it could backfire by them taking you to the turret and you die. And obviously he has got his Q, which is basically a little mini Malphite ultimate for the end. So he's pretty fast. He's got amazing clearing speed, especially with the weakling cramps that are right now. Just his two biggest weaknesses have to be that his reliance on blue and his reliance on having to set up. However, like, those weaknesses aren't as grandiose as before. The new jungle is pretty weak, that he could solo blue even if he gets screwed, and he can clear anyways without that much sustain, and you can build him any way you want. So it makes him tier 1, but not God mode. He's just having, those weaknesses, even though they're not as significant anymore, just keep him from the God status. But tier 1 is still kind of, really, it is really strong too. So he's one of the better choices right now, even as a pick, like a general team pick. That stun or snare, whatever, is really strong for your team, and he's an overall great, thing to have in your team. He's a good initiator, and he's got AoE damage, and he's pretty bad. He's tanky. Okay. He was designed to jungle, and he's still got his semi-global ult to help him out. He's got AoE damage, he's got built-in steroids, and he's a badass. However, his weakness does actually come that even with this new jungle, you can see his lack of sustain. He actually does take damage early on. He's pretty easy to kill, and the whole running back and forth crap and weaker lower levels did hurt him. Still very strong, just not as awesome as before. They removed some of his awesome sauce. Less awesome. Fuck Shaco. Now here's the first world success story. Amumu has built-in AoE and damage resistance on his E. Basically making him a badass jungler now, and as he wipes out camps without losing any health, so he could go boots or regrowth pendant and not worry about anything. Like, I know he could have gotten regrowth pendant before, but now it's like a lot less riskier and suicidal. Also, those health runes help him keep up. So he got build options opened up. Path options closed. He's got no more sustain paths or any of that good stuff. So, and he's still reliant on blue, and his ganking is still skill shot oriented, but his level 6 ganking is still strong. So he became a really fast clearer. He became deadly, and he wasn't a weak duelist. He's annoying. Like he really is painful if you duel him. I mean, he's not going to finish. He rarely has the ability to finish you off, but he's going to make you regret even showing up to fight him. So speed, he gained speed, he gained clearing, he gained sustain through, in health. He just lost some of his path options, and, that keeps him down. Reliance on blue on the new jungle is kind of bleh. Yeah, I know the new jungle kind of sucks for control junglers, but Nunu still stands above the rest because he's a support jungler. So thus, no matter how screwed up he gets or how much trouble it takes him to do something, he's going to transition better than pretty much the entire jungle cast. Because he's support. He doesn't really need items to do his job, and doesn't really need levels to do his job either. So, while he may be level 5, if he kept your jungler at level 5, he's done his job. Because who suffers more from that stuff? Your jungler. Your Lee Sin, your Udyr. If your Udyr is low level and underfarmed, he's not going to do anything. Nunu, at least he can do something. And that's more than what your Udyr can say is doing. So that's how Nunu works. And he can do that better than anybody else in this new jungle, especially because his built-in smite allows him to steal your buffs pretty easily. Now and sustain and speed. Alright, so Malphite is across the board awesome. That's the best way I can put it. He's got high scores on all the aspects, and he's pretty much, solid across the board. His only shortcoming comes from his ganking being, underpowered due to the fact that you have to build your E to clear camps and stuff. And his level 6 ganking can be, telegraphed, so if you see it coming, you can avoid it easily. And yeah, you could say, oh, you burn your flash for your Q, for his ultimate. Well, difference is it's his ultimate and it's a high cooldown. And unlike on the Amumu skill shot where you can just try again really quickly, Malphite can't use it and right off the bat again. So Malphite is tier 1. He's solid across the board. I'm just gonna go on and say Master Yi is one of the best jungles in the game right now. He has strong single target damage. Multiple builds have been opened up to him, especially sustained builds. He's really good for him now. His AoE is still there with Alpha Strike, and still the RNG instant troll kill thing is still there. His matchups, while some junglers can outright just beat him to a death, to a pulp because he's weak, if he were to actually get his damage off in a fair fight, or if he ambushes them, he will eviscerate most of any matchup. He still has his whole weaknesses of having mana issues, because for some reason they don't decide to lower his mana cost, because his mana is pretty intense early on, and his cooldowns are unforgiving. He's besides that, that's not a big issue. Multiple builds have been opened up, multiple rune items, pathing starts. He's an okay ganker. I mean, a lot of the matchups right now kind of screw with him on that, so that's kind of his weaknesses. But even then, he snowballs in the jungle. He will start clearing the camps incredibly fast. So if you don't try to stop him, he's gonna get a farm and he's gonna destroy your team. And now, considering that counter jungling is riskier and less beneficial for you, your jungler has to throw himself in there to try to stop Master Yi. By doing that, he's effectively countering your jungle just by existing. Not only that, he can easily go up to your jungle and steal it from you. Like, he can just go in there, Alpha Strike, boom, Wraith Camp is his, runs out, or kills you if he finds you. So Master Yi is God mode right now. Not God tier, but he's really strong. Probably gonna go up in this tier list too.